Hi my salty pecans, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Pamela, and today's video is a I'm sorry for talking so much shit. Oh my gosh. Yes, so this video is about my Raphidophora tetrasperma. As you can see, this plant is just crazy. This is an insane growing plant, and I'm just gonna go ahead and chat about this plant, speak a little bit about plant care, give you guys a bit of backstory on this plant, where it came from, because at one point this was one of my biggest purchase regrets of 2019. Yes, I actually created a video last year just talking about how much I regret purchasing this plant, and now look at it, it is one of my most favorite plants in my collection. So if you're interested in just hearing a bit more about this beauty, then keep on watching. So welcome back, everyone. Alright, so again, like I mentioned, this is my Raphidophora tetrasperma, and I'm going to try and insert a clip if I can. If I can't, then there won't be a clip. But this plant, I purchased it at a local New York plant shop, and I brought it home. It was beautiful, it was small. Oh, my earring is stuck. Oh, I hate when that happens. Okay. So my earring, it was not my earring. I purchased this at the plant shop, and I brought it home, and this plant was just gradually declining and declining and declining, and I could not understand why that is. I adjusted the lighting, I adjusted the watering, I adjusted where it's positioned in my home, and for the life of me, this plant just kept on dying. So I got to a point where I was pretty much fed up. I was extremely fed up. So as a plant parent, usually what I don't do is change my soil when I bring the plant home. 9 times out of 10, I don't do that because I kind of trust the grower's medium, and I also understand, you know, how to care for the plant depending on the medium that it's in. So speaking about this plant, I've purchased from that plant shop prior. So for me, I had my Monstera deliciosa, which I purchased from that plant shop. So I also got the Raphidophora tetrasperma, aka the mini Monstera. Do not call it that, that's not what it is, okay? I got it from there, so I was like, alright, you know what, I'm not gonna change the soil, because I've never in my growing plant parenthood had to change soil like immediately after bringing it home. That is pretty much where I made my mistake, and I left the plant in that medium, which was holding water too much. It was not draining enough, and I also was leaving the plant in an area that wasn't getting enough sunlight. You know, after just changing the location around so much, I eventually left it in an area where it wasn't drying out fast enough, and the medium was retaining too much water. So what I did end up doing is completely throwing out all of that soil, all of the old soil from the grower's medium, and I just made my own sort of more of a drier, barky, you know, mix. There's like plenty of perlite, just soil, a little bit of orchid bark, and so on and so forth. Once I changed the medium, I noticed an immediate just positive growth for this plant. This plant ended up just vining so much, and I've gone ahead, like I've chopped this plant a few times, I've sowed this plant a few times, and it just continues to grow. A lot of people, they like to trellis this. For me, I let mine just hang and vine down from my window. I do not trellis it. I like how it hangs and grows down wide like this. It is so beautiful, and I have no problem with it. In regards to care, because I mentioned that I did change the soil medium. For care wise, I let this plant dry out fully. I let this plant pretty much dry out to the point where the leaves will start yellowing, on top of it being in a well draining mix. Okay, so I don't overwater this plant, and I also let it dry out fully. Monsteras, I find, are the hardiest, just I guess, family of plants. My Monstera deliciosa, I think I water it maybe like once a month, once every month and a half. My Monstera Peru, you know, I water it every 2 weeks or so. My Monstera Stendalalena prefers a bit more water. My Monstera Salty Pecan also doesn't mind drying out and can withstand the drought period. So this is still within the Monstera family, the Rhaphidophorus. So again, I let this dry out. I don't worry about, you know, like, it's okay if you lose a few leaves, you know. It's okay if you just have some, you know, some yellowing, you have some dying leaves. That's okay. Your plant will continue to grow. If you are more cautious about that, then definitely don't let your plant dry out too much, because that is indication of, hey, take care of me, please. In regards to fertilization, I fertilize this plant with the fertilizers that I use for all of my plants. So I actually use the same fertilizers for Hoyas, Philodendron, Monsteras, my cacti and succulents. I use the same fertilizers, except for certain ones I do have more specific fertilizers for them. So you can fertilize this with a well-balanced fertilizer, something that's like a 10-10-10, or you can, depending on what your plant might need, if it has a deficiency, you know, pay attention to your plant and see if it needs more phosphorus or something else, okay? So do pay attention to how your foliage might appear. In regards to foliage, one thing that I can mention that might be a little like alarming, but it's not alarming, is after you water this plant, depending on how much water this plant absorbs, you might notice just this weird, it's not variegation, but it kind of resembles variegation. You'll see that the leaf is kind of like transparent, and it's not transparent after watering. Don't be alarmed, it's just the cells of your plant just deciding pretty much like, yo, is this enough? Is this too much water? Sometimes, you know, your plant might excrete some excess water if it does absorb it, but that is something to know that your plant does, but it is not detrimental. It is not harming your plant, but that is something to know is potentially can happen. My plant lives in my northeast facing window. It lives above my radiator, and if you've watched my previous videos, and if you have not, I'll tag it below, but basically like a winter prep care with plants that live above radiators. I do have my water bowl that helps add a bit more humidity in that area for all of those plants that live in my window. And also, since a lot of the plants are communal, they are so combined together, that does increase the humidity in the area, especially being near a radiator. Lighting wise, since I mentioned it does live in my northeast facing window, this plant gets whatever lighting the window gets, whether it's cloudy, whether it's sunny, whether it's blistering hot, whether it's freezing cold and overcast. This plant just receives whatever is in the northeast facing window of the Northeast America, okay? I don't supplement it with any grow lights, but again, if you can provide this with more lighting, the better, because these plants, they can, you know, grow more with better lighting. If you want to, you can stake this. I don't stake it. You don't really need to. It's up to what you like, your, you know, your visual attraction, all right? If you are interested in this plant, I definitely say this plant is super easy to propagate. All you have to do is find a node. A node is basically where, you know, new growth comes from, and you can see they already have like little aerial roots, what you can do is just cut it underneath a node, let this callus, and then you can pop it in water, or you can plop it right back in the soil. You can propagate it via moss, you can propagate it via perlite, whatever method, leca, it doesn't matter, whatever method you prefer. This plant is very, very easy. It is a non-fussy plant in general. So again, Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. I'm not too sure if this is a tissue culture or not. If anyone is a tetrasperma expert, please let me know. Does this look like a tissue culture, or does this look like a non-tissue culture? Alright, I've always been interested in, you know, what is this? So that is all I have to say in regards to this amazing plant. And again, I am so sorry, plant, for talking so much crap about you a few years ago and saying that you were one of my biggest purchase regrets. I don't regret you. I really wanted you, and I'm happy that you decided to, you know, get your shit together pretty much, okay? So yes, my salty pecans, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up and sharing. Subscribe if you aren't already. Join this little cookie family because we're pretty awesome here. Become a salty pecan, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified every single time I upload a new video. And I will see you on the next one. Let's get growing. Bye. Da